Hey everybody, welcome to the STEMspired Podcast with Dr. Mia. I am an internationally known scientist and I love and value education and mentorship. And so that is why I started this podcast to be able to inspire our new generation of scholars. And today we have a special guest, Patrick Hart, or that healthcare guy. So let me tell you a little bit about Patrick. So from helicopters to boardrooms, Patrick Hart is a minority healthcare executive, Army veteran, and mission-driven storyteller who's on a mission to empower the next generation of leaders to hustle with purpose. With a career that bridges hands-on grit and strategic genius, Patrick Hart transformed a 6-year military background as a helicopter mechanic into a powerhouse role in healthcare tech, helping lead a company to a high value exit in 2018. Patrick uses the same hustle mentality to uplift underrepresented voices in healthcare, leadership, and entrepreneurship. As the founder of PDP Media, Patrick is changing the narrative around career growth for minorities by spotlighting untold stories through dynamic video resumes, leadership showcases, and digital storytelling that inspires action. Patrick also has a podcast known as Health Hustle Chronicles, which dives into the real behind the roles and breaking down the steps to success for career climbers and industry change makers. Author of Hustle to the Top and creator of the Hustling 25/8 newsletter, Patrick keeps it gritty, real, and relentlessly authentic, speaking directly to career warriors who are juggling self-doubt, poor leadership, lack of mentorships, and the grind of scaling up without a roadmap. Whether on stage, on screen, or behind the mic, Patrick shows people how to get unstuck, level up, and build legacy, one bold move at a time. So let's give it up for Mr. Patrick Hart. Thank you so much for being here with us. It's such a joy. So first, give a brief introduction of yourself and your professional and personal background.
Listen, thank you for having me on your podcast. Thank you for that warm introduction. And for everybody that's listening to this or watching it at some point, thank you for tuning in. And please like and follow your boy, especially if you're interested in continuing to elevate and grow your careers. So I think you said it beautifully about my background. You know, starting the military, had to pivot because I wasn't a lifelong career warrior. I felt like the military was a great stepping stone for me, right? And then transitioned from there. I spent 8 years in the mobile home industry as a general manager, running retail centers throughout the state of Texas. And then from there, I pivoted after the housing market went to crap in 2008 and found healthcare in 2009. And then that's where I found just an eye-opening experience within healthcare. I was like, man, this is a great industry to really be in and thrive in. I said, let me navigate this a little bit more. So I started like in sales and marketing, and then ended up picking up different skill levels and understanding more and more about the industry until I elevated my career and landed myself as an executive of a technology company where I ran a business unit supporting over 8,000 clients nationwide and grew revenue 30% year over year for consecutive years. And ultimately, what we were able to do is position the company to be sold to a bigger organization. And then from there, on my journey through elevation, I kept on looking around and I was like, well, why is there not more people in the room that look like me? Right. And it makes you feel a type of way. And one side, you feel like you feel valuable, right? You feel like you've accomplished something. But on the other side, depending on who you are, I feel like I'm leaving people behind. And so that piece right there, that leaving people behind is what inspired me after we sold that company to continue to reach back, to give back, to educate and uplift the next generation of leaders. I want to help you achieve similar or greater success than what I was able to achieve along my journey. So, you've encompassed it very well in my bio. That's just a high level intro of kind of who I am and the purpose and the mission and what I'm about. So, thank you again for having me on the show.
Absolutely. And I know even behind the scenes, you have inspired me. And so I think everybody's going to benefit so much from hearing your perspectives. So Another thing I want to ask you, so you talk a lot about careers in healthcare, right? So what inspired you to want to educate others about that career field specifically?
That's cool. Well, one is because I had experience within healthcare, right? So you want to go to what you know. It would be awkward of me to come on your show and then nationally speak about things that I know nothing about, right? Healthcare is something that I truly knew about. And then I was looking at healthcare and I was looking around. I was like, what I don't see is a lot of influencers influencing decisions within healthcare. So I had the bright idea, well, why can't I just be a healthcare influencer? So I tagged myself that healthcare guy because everything that I talk about is healthcare related, whether it's career growth, which could impact you internally, right? So, and then I talk about, spotlight opportunities, help you elevate and level up your skill sets by talking about soft skills, even dress. How do you dress? How do you approach an interview? I talk about things like that. But then also, you'll also see me spotlight organizations who are trying to change the game and tell their different and better story. So healthcare for me, it was something that I knew, but also it's a niche segment. Even though healthcare is extremely large, we do a horrible job of marketing our services and introducing people to healthcare and then telling people about the career paths and career progressions that are available. So I feel like somebody needed to do that. So why not me? So that's why I'm here and that's why I'm the healthcare guy.
That healthcare guy, I love that.
Yep.
And I also noticed like on your social media, you go to different healthcare companies and interview healthcare workers about their experiences. So can you expand a little bit more on that? Like, why did you choose to, get really into the day-to-day healthcare field?
Yeah, I mean, if you work in healthcare, there's an alarming stat, and your viewers, they generally navigate to the healthcare as well. But what's happening is less and less people are coming into healthcare as a work related option, and more people are leaving healthcare to go to various competitive industries, which means that over a course of time, we know the acuity of care is getting higher. People are coming into the healthcare system at an alarming age, right? And so often when they come into the healthcare uh, uh, world, they have all these comorbidities of care that are needed. And by the time they actually enter the care is often too late and they should have did it sooner, right? So there's that one aspect of, the care piece. The other aspect is an employment piece, right? How do we employ people? I want to help people understand that I may start as a CNA, but I don't have to be a CNA for 7 years. I don't have to be a CNA for 10 years. I may start as a PCT or anything else in healthcare or along the bedside, but I don't have to stay there. I can transition to product management. I can transition to sales. I can transition to management or executive leadership. And so I think it's so important that we're able to tell those stories and help highlight and help people understand what those various career paths looks like. So for me, it's just about the mission and purpose of helping you and other people find what makes you happy internally while still being able to support other people that look like us within healthcare. So,
Absolutely. Such a great perspective to have. I know in my personal journey at first, I was working in healthcare with doctors and shadowing doctors and physicians, but then I transitioned and pivoted into biomedical research. So, like you said, there are endless possibilities, and I think it's so important for, our community to know what endless possibilities you can have in regards to the scientific world and healthcare. So,
absolutely.
how did you get into the business executive world, and how did that push you into fulfilling your goals?
Wow. So first, I felt like if we go all the way back, I feel like I was one of those kids that was a dreamer, right? I used to dream, envision what my life would look like when I got older. I remember being 10 with, my arm hanging out the window while my mom was driving down the highway. And, you would do this in the air, you let the air take your arm and you're just playing outside the window. And, I would just look out the window and I would just dream and like, what will my life look like when I'm 15? What is my life going to look like when I'm 21? What am I going to look like at 25? What am I going to look like at 30? You know what I'm saying? All those specific milestones. So I've always dreamed. But what separated me from everybody else, those are the people that dream, and then those are the people that do. I was a dreamer that decided to do. A lot of people want to dream, but they don't do anything, right? And so we get stuck in our own internal frustration, and then we often look back years later when we get older and wish we would have done something different for my life. So I've always wanted to be that person that only dreamed but actually did it. And what started it for me was my mom. Like my mom was a single female. He was raising me. I was the older brother, and then as well as my brother, he's 5.5 years younger than me. So she was a hustler. When I say a hustler, I'm talking about true story. My mom would be out there on the streets gambling, rolling dice. Like that's how she provided for our family. Like true story. Like she was a
Yeah.
true hustler. And I remember there was nights, man, like we barely had anything to eat because maybe she
Mhm.
lost that day. She just, since she wasn't on her game that particular day. So she inspired me. She showed me what hustling looks like. And then what she lacked in education because my mom was like a high school dropout. She truly
Mhm.
was a high school dropout. What she lacked in education, she made it up in love. So she loved the crap out of me and my brother. And that I respected that because, growing up in the 80s, you see the pandemic on drugs, you see the war against drugs, you see a lot of us that were suffering because drugs were rampant in our communities, and then we were
Mhm.
incarcerated, right? Our people that looked like us was incarcerated, and so all of that just kind of instilled and motivated me that I wanted something different for my particular life. So I started turning these dreams that I had into true opportunities for myself. And honestly, by the grace of God, that He's been leading over me, that I've been able to fulfill a lot of the things that I wanted to fulfill in my life. And along the way as well, while I'm still dreaming, here I am, in my 40s, I'm still dreaming. I still want to make sure that I'm providing a handout for people that are interested in dreaming and getting to that next level as well. So that's what inspired me.
That's so powerful for real, because a lot of people that look like us probably can truly resonate with that. We come with multiple different disadvantages a lot of times, and I love how you transformed, your life experience into advocating for others and being an inspiration to others. So that's very valuable. It's very needed in this world, especially right now. And we all need to know where you start doesn't dictate where you will be. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
okay, so I know we talked about a tad about Hustling 25/8.
Yes.
So what made you start this platform and how do you build community with this platform?
Oh, absolutely. Hustle 25/8 is basically a newsletter that I have on LinkedIn. And with that, I started with thought leadership, like a video series spotlighting leaders from around the world, helping tell their stories. That way, people can find themselves, they can resonate through storytelling from other people. And I still do a piece of that. But then I also realized that LinkedIn is one of those platforms that storytelling through words actually performs better than video. So I was like, okay, well, let me transition this into basically a blog series, right? Where now I'm telling the story of what the hustle journey is like. And I felt like if I did this enough times, that it's going to attract the people that are on a similar journey as me. It's going to attract the people that think or dream, similar to me as well. And it's been amazing. So within a short time, I think within the first I don't know, with the first 90 days, I had over 2,000 people that signed up for the newsletter. Here it is, I think it's about 6 months later, I'm pushing on about 4,000, right? And I expect that to continue to grow. And so what that tells me is that one, storytelling actually works. Two, people resonate with the message that I'm putting out there. And then three, this is an opportunity to not only have a platform to help people, this is an opportunity to have a platform to connect people, to shorten that networking, to help you elevate and use my network and other people within the network so we can collaborate and find opportunities that match our skill sets.
Absolutely. And we need more collaboration because it takes a village, Like we
Absolutely.
can't all do it by ourselves. We can't bear all that alone. And I personally have benefited from being part of the Hustling 25/8 community. And so I highly recommend, y'all get in there.
Yeah, absolutely. In
Very,
fact, I would tell people to check out the website. And I know we'll probably talk about this later, but check out the website, www.pdpmedia.com. That's P as in Patrick, D as in dog, P as in Patrick, media.com. And you're going to find, the lovely face of Dr. Mia Edgerton Fuller. She's on there as well as one of the thought leaders. You can tap into her story. You can tap in with the podcast and listen to all the various leaders throughout the rest of the world on there. You can tap in with some of those blogs. And then you can also just keep track of some of the things that I'm doing on social media, because I have a lot of my things tagged into my website as well. So check it out.
Yes. So, what are ways scientific entrepreneurs can scale their business? So, this question was mainly for me. I'm not gonna lie to
Yeah.
you. I think, I was very, very intrigued by how you said, you helped a company have a large exit strategy. So, how did that come about, and what can people who want to pursue entrepreneurship, how can they get a result that's similar?
Wow, that's a great question. And I'm not sure if my answer is going to be for everybody, but hopefully it is. What I found out along my journey, if I'm going to be a doer, I'm going to actually accomplish things that mean I had to get out of that fear zone, which we know fear prevents us from doing so many things in life. Fear is also creates regret. Fear actually prevents you from dreaming anymore, because you get to a point where you're dreaming and then you wake up and then you don't do anything because now you're afraid of moving forward. So I remember here I was. I've always felt like I had a lot to contribute to any organization I was with. Some of that was probably cockiness, some of that was probably confidence, but a lot of that was just belief in myself. I felt like I had a lot to offer. And so I would go into these organizations, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to make an impact, right? And some of that impact is visually. I wanted you to see me. I wanted you to see that I'm here. I wanted you to see what I bring to the table. So, your boy, I always like to look good. And I was like that. I was like that as well. I want to look good in an organization. So one, you're going to remember me. But two, I would show up and provide not only the energy, but I would actually provide the execution. So if I was given a task, I wanted to make sure I fulfilled that task, right? So that was so important to me, because at the end of the day, my image is everything. You look at me a type of way, but then you look at, how I perform within the workplace, and you see I actually deliver as well. So a combination of both of those allowed me to continue to fight fear, because fear is one of those things you're fighting on a daily basis. And I say daily, you're fighting it on a daily basis. Fear doesn't just go away because you want it to go away. It stays there forever. So what am I getting at? I remember there was an executive position. It was posted on LinkedIn, and I'm looking at over the qualifications that they're looking for. And at this point, I had a bachelor's degree and I had a master's degree. But a lot of the things they were looking for, like years of experience, things like that, or some of these other hard skills that they were looking for that I didn't have. I was like, dude, should I even apply for this, this position? And I was talking to myself, and I was hovering over that submit button for so freaking long. And I was like, they're really just gonna laugh at my resume. They're gonna just laugh me out of the room, right? And I hit submit. And then I got a call later. It was a couple of days later. It was the recruiter, right? And we started talking about the position and what they were looking for. And one of the things that I had worked on over the course of years while developing my skill set is communication. How do you communicate with people? How do you have that eye contact? What does your body language look like? How do you sell yourself over the phone or over a Zoom meeting, things like that? So that's one of the things that I had started working on. And I realized that if I can get face to face with somebody, if I can get you on a Zoom call, if I can get in a public setting, I'm going to win that. I'm going to win that. Be like, that's a leg up for me. So I knew it's like, just give me that opportunity and I'm going to be able to run with it. So the opportunity was granted, right? I sold myself, progressed through the interview process, and actually landed the role. And so it was my first big boy opportunity. So for me to get there, I had to struggle with overcoming fear, overcoming the imposter syndrome. And an imposter syndrome is being in the room, right? And feeling like you really don't belong there. That's what imposter, we're going to shorten it up. It's being in the room and really feeling like you don't belong there. Even though you had busted your tail to get there, even though that you've done everything right to get there, right? But for whatever reason, we're looking at ourselves and we're looking around and you're like, man, I don't really know if I belong here. My
Hmm.
answer to you is you belong there, right? So we're facing imposter syndrome, we're facing fear, and I would just tell you, over 60% of the jobs that are fulfilled are people that aren't qualified based off of what the qualifications are on paper. So go ahead and put yourself out there and move forward. So that's what helped me is just battling fear, having that mindset that, hey, I'm not only a doer, having creating impact, making sure that visually you looked at me, it set me apart, and then I'm actually going to show up at work and actually do the job. So I did everything that I said what I was going to do, and so.
That's good stuff right there. Y'all follow Patrick so you can see his drip. He has some powerful good combinations, y'all. Don't iced out and all.
Yeah, I'm hitting them. I got it. I got it. I got it.
Yes, and that was so important. I resonate so much with that because I'm actively in my job search right now, and sometimes I psych myself out. I even experience fear, in different ways. But that knowing those things deep down and trying, because what's the worst people can say? No.
No, it's the worst. And guess what you gain from that? You gain understanding. You gain understanding. Hopefully, you gain understanding of why they said no. And so the
Hmm.
next time you do that same act again, right? I'm going to do it a different way because I had experience from the first time. So a lot of people look at failure as like it's over. Me,
Hmm.
I always ran towards failure. The faster I failed, the faster I understood something, right? So that's my thing. Run towards failure. Get uncomfortable on a daily basis. And here's my thing, and this is for your audience. People, they're going to come in here and your heart is in the right place. The intention is in the right place. You found healthcare because intrinsically you would like to give back, right? And that's probably because maybe it was a family setting. You've seen other people suffering, whatever it happened to be. You felt like, hey, I wanted to give back, right? And so you found healthcare. But just because you found healthcare and you started out in one role, you can still attain and achieve other levels of success as well. So my challenge to you out there, all those people that are finding healthcare, all those people that are navigating the road, is start doing your vision board now. Start mapping out what you hope your career looks like over the next 20 years. And there's power in writing things down because now you're manifesting what you've actually wrote down, right? And you're
Come
talking to yourself.
on.
And that magnification is so important, right? Because this is where your vision comes from. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to keep that vision throughout the course of our career. And in order to do that, you got to write it down. And you got to, purposely, follow it out.
You almost made me want to shout over here.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yes, yes, yes. That's so true. It's so true. We got to get out our head and we got to do it no matter what. And that leads me to my next question. Authorship is a whole new avenue in itself. So, how was that experience and why did you choose to become an author as well?
Man, that's a great question. So last year, so what are we at now? We're in 2025, what, April 2025. So it was actually July of 2023. Then we fast forward later in that summer. So maybe it was sometime in that summer. But I remember going to a function. It was one of my homeboys that, friend of mine, and he invited me to a function. And at this function, it was a networking function. I love networking. So if you ever get an opportunity to network and you go to some of these conferences, I challenge you to do that at least one time a year, if not more, because that's where you're going to find other like-minded people that have accomplished similar things that you're interested in accomplish. But anyway, I went to this networking function, and I'm going to network. So if I'm there, I'm already there. So why waste my time, right? So let me just go around and meet people and figure out what they do and their different and better story, and how can I find a way to collaborate. And I met this young lady, and we were talking about my background, and she looked at me and she's like, "You should write a book." And I was like, "Man, I never thought about writing a book." She's like, "Yeah, if you're looking to become, this true full-time entrepreneur, you should write a book because now it adds credibility to who you are." And I thought about that. I was like, "Wow, okay, that's deep." And I went from there and I started researching how to write a book. So I did my self-published book. Um, you can check it out on Amazon. You can check it out on my website as well. It's Hustle to the Top, a modern guide for scaling your career. And it's a very easy read. I mean, the audio version, I really love the audio version because I'm more of an audiobook guy, but you can probably listen to it within an hour and a half or something like that. And it's just packed with insight, just motivational tools to help you get to that next level for your career. So I did that because someone actually told me. And so we wouldn't be having this conversation, you and I, if I wasn't one of those type of people that not only acted on things, but actually listened to other people. And I think that's a big piece that we miss out on is, just elevating our careers is that listening piece. You have to go out and listen and understand from other people and model people's success. There's
Mhm.
nothing new in this world where someone has done something and no one else has done it before, right? And so it's okay to duplicate what you've seen other people do. And then more importantly, it's okay to take advice from people, especially if you know that's great advice. So combination of both.
That advice and networking. I mean, hey, that's how we cross paths through
Yep,
networking.
absolutely.
I saw your social media post and I was very intrigued by it. And I just randomly said, "Hey, would you like to be featured during Black History Month on Scholarly Scouts platform?" And so it just took off from there. So don't be afraid to make connections. You never know what can come out of them. So great point that you mentioned.
Yep. And I'm grateful for that opportunity. I'm glad you reached out. I mean, there's so many things that came out of us networking together. Here it is. This is probably our third or fourth time that you and I have been like face to face like this over the course of 12 months. And that's all through networking. So kudos to you and the organization that you have. But I truly love what your organization stands for because it's in line with my values. It's in line with the impact that I'm trying to make. And we're trying to help provide a hand up for all those people that look like us who are on the path to greater things in life. So kudos to us.
Yes, kudos to us. Thank you for those uplifting words. So, my final question for you, how can our scholars connect with you? I know you're everywhere, but how can they get to you?
I try to make it easy, right? Again, my tag is very unique. That healthcare guy. You can find me across, all the social channels, whether that's Instagram. I just started with TikTok maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, but again, that healthcare guy. Also on YouTube, that healthcare guy, as well as LinkedIn, that healthcare guy. Or you can just type in a Google Patrick, last name is Hart, and then you can put that healthcare guy and it'll pull up all the different social channels and things that I'm actively doing out there, right? So you want to connect with me that way is probably going to be the easiest way. And I know we're going to be closing this out. What I challenge everybody to do here is listen. Here's my challenge to you. And we have a hard time doing this as Black people. And I want to point this
Mhm.
out. But clapping and celebrating for other people that look like us, for whatever reason, we have a hard time doing that. And here's my challenge to you. If you want to grow, if you truly want to grow your career, you have to learn how to celebrate the successes of other people that look like you. If you can't do that, you're not ready for it. I'm going to tell you that right now. And you're going to
Mhm.
say, well, Patrick, why are you not ready for it? Because leadership is about understanding. Leadership is about following. You can't be a leader until you've learned how to follow, right? That's so important. So we have to learn how to follow. We have to learn how to collaborate. We have to learn how to celebrate the successes of people that look like us. So challenge yourself when you're out there on social media. What are you filtering into your brain? Is it negativity? Is it positivity? Is it things that's going to help you tomorrow, or is this thing that's going to set you back emotionally today? Right. And those are the things that I'm looking to challenge. Go find somebody that you can follow, that you can clap, celebrate, and learn from. So that's my 2 cents to the rest of the world. Hopefully, you continue to like, comment, follow your boy. And I'm going to make sure to continue to doing the same to uplift and inspire you to get to that next level.
Y'all embrace this wisdom that you guys got today. I know I learned a good bit today that I will carry through life. And celebrating each other is huge. We have to
Absolutely.
celebrate each other. I mean, that's what brings blessings. That's what brings success when we have genuine and authentic hearts and we are happy to celebrate others despite it doesn't matter if your stuff is going haywire. If somebody is good, doing great, let's celebrate them. Let's uplift each other. We have to do that as a community. So, such a great point. And thank you so much for coming on the STEMspired podcast. It's been an amazing experience. You dropped some wonderful gems today.
Thank you. Thank you once again for having me. And to the rest of the viewers out there, please tap in with your boy, like, comment, follow, and then let me know how I can help you because I'm always interested in helping position you to get to that next level.
So follow and subscribe to Scholarly Scouts. Follow PDP Media that and that healthcare guy. Don't leave us out. You know, we're both here to empower and continue to inspire the next generation of scholars. Thank you all for watching and have a wonderful rest of your day and keep inspiring and keep doing your thing.